Hi, this is On It Imagination with the ethical asshole. I am your host, the salty bitch. I am so excited about this. I have been on this. One moment. What are you doing? The chips. My daughter is standing here like with her cat, and I'm like, what are you doing? She wanted the chips. So I have been on this massive what's going on with the educational system. And this is really what it comes down to. In 1992, I was done. I had already found my teachers in 1984, 1988, and then in 1992, I caught them in the third lie, logical fallacy. And I was able to prove to them that they were wrong. And I'm like, okay, if you are wrong, you should not be teaching me. So I fired them and I assigned Plato to the job. And that is when I started to study education. Now, Thomas Sowell immediately fell into my lap by the time 1995 rolled around, and I was all over his work. And he was literally laying out the science, proving what I was experiencing firsthand. So I made some executive decisions in my education when I was 12, 13, 14 years old. It started at 12, but by the time I was 15, it was solidified. And this is what I did. First, I fired all my teachers. I literally fired the US government from being allowed to teach me. Now, the US government declares that you have to legally attend school, and I did want an education, and I was also concerned about education gaps. Now, in addition, I don't know how this happened, but on a really weird fluke, I ended up with 7 masters. So I had a wonderful metric of experiencing a master versus a high school wannabe graduate. They were fucking terrible teachers. Now, the majority of them were terrible teachers, but these 7. Now, of these 7 students or 7 masters, 1 was a Juilliard instructor, 2 were my uncles who were both philosophers. The other was the pastor of my church who was a philosopher. So that leaves us with 3 actual masters inside the school, inside my school. And it was knowing and being able to recognize their level of mastery that I strategically set up my classes so I would get their classes. Everything else I downgraded. Everything else. Oh, this is the incompetent teacher. I downgraded. I deliberately did not take the class, or I took the easiest class I could find just so I could literally put in the minimal amount of effort to meet the government standard so I could do the actual studying that I wanted to do with philosophy, Plato, and then my 3 masters, plus the 4 masters I was working on the outside. Now, I actually brought my encyclopedia sets to school and I just studied there. I had 4 study halls, and I also had an art class, a study hall, and my lunch period that I turned into a bohemian philosophical debate while I did art. And I did that for about 4 years. So I had a philosophical debate club that I organized as well. Now, while all that was going on, I was also doing my own philosophical studies, writing books, composing musical operas, all that jazz, putting all of that together. Now, while I was doing that, mind you, I was also dealing with the trauma that I was also working on, but I was also still studying Thomas Sowell and the history of education. I had already, by the time I was 12, been in 3 different academic educational systems. So I had the parochial one-room schoolhouse experience where it was a supervisor overseeing the class while it was all DIY self-teaching. And I did that from kindergarten up to the 5th grade. Then I got the US public educational system and I got to experience that abomination. And then I had Plato's curriculum that I found in the 1992 World Book Encyclopedia set that I just copied. So I also had the ancient Greek educational system. And I got to experience, by the time I was 15, 3 different academic disciplines. So I got to see what an academic discipline actually did, and I had 3 data points. So I was able to actually assess what it was doing to my brain. While I was doing that, I was still researching Thomas Sowell. So by the time I was 18, and my English teacher, who was an abomination, she had us do a thesis. Now, it was an actual college course, and she wanted us to do a thesis on a subject of our choice. It had to be a 300-page essay. It was a 300-page essay. And I chose the decline of the educational system between the 1960s and the present day. And I cited substantial evidence, my firsthand experience with witnessing the abomination that was the educational system, with all the documentation from my own firsthand experience, as well as the information from Trauma Sowell's books. She literally canceled the essay that was worth 80% of our grade that year because of my essay. So that was the beginning of this absolute what is going on with the educational system in the United States. Now, in the meantime, about 4 years later, I had children. So I walked into the schools as a mother this time going, you're going to answer for the educational system in the United States because I know the bullshit you're pulling, I said to them. They did not like me, and I got the same response. Okay, it was not that hostile. It was like, could you please tell me what's going on with the educational system? I handed them Thomas Sowell in my essay going, could you please explain yourself? Can I expect the same bullshit that my children are going to get from you that I know you gave to me? Yeah, pretty much. I started to watch them give the same bullshit. If anything, it had gotten worse. So already with my children, I was like, all right, we're going to have a sit down, kids, literally 5, 6 years old. I'm like, I came right out and told them, they're not going to educate you properly. This is logic, this is philosophy, and this is how you learn. So I taught my children from day one actual education and knowledge. I taught them how to read. I taught them how to self-teach. So by the time my children were 10, they were set. They were literally going around doing their own education and they were fine. If anything, when it came to them attending school, there were more problems than not. Significant problems with how the schools were handling my children, which is nothing new. We've all seen that. And later, I went in as an educator. So now my philosophy studies had finished. I was now at the very end of my parenting. My youngest is 17 years old now. She's graduated from high school. So, and my 30 plus years of educational research is coming to this massive close. It's closed. Like I've got the science down. I've got the research. Here's the logic, math, and physics that proves all their garbage is garbage. And I walked into a number of situations with the schools going, I want to talk to you about the situation. 30 years of asking this question. And one teacher finally talked to me and they said, if you have a problem with the way the school system is run, you're going to have to go through these channels. I said, do you realize it took me over 30 years for one of you to give me that answer? 30 years. I had been looking for this answer before Google was around for me to Google this question. Where do I go to talk to whoever is in charge of this educational garbage that you think qualifies for an educational system? So it was disgusting. It was horrific, the amount of abuse I got from teachers. And I realized a lot. I'm not going to get into that. But now I have the formula for education. I have the formula for education and learning. So now I'm looking at what they're doing. And I'm not the only one. Dr. Edgar Dale did this research back in the 60s also. And he has literally the formula that shows, look, this is how we learn, guys. 90% of what we learn has to come through doing. And of discussion, 80% of discussion is also memorized. It's also integrated. Reading and listening, reading is 10%, which means whatever you read, 10% of what you read is only going to be retained after I think it was 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And then whatever you listen to is only going to stick around for about 20%. So listening and reading are literally the worst types of learning and education there is. Reading and listening are the worst type of education. This is not education. It is so low on the retainment scale. It's not education. Education is doing and discussion, which is what the ancient Greek educational system is based off of. Now, this is not new data. This data has been around by Edgar Dale back in the 60s when he conducted the scientific research and showed them educators, look what I found. And you'd think the educators would sit there and go, wow, that's really valuable information. Here, let's incorporate that. Instead, they went, oh, we don't want that, and they threw it away. And they have not, it's been 80 years, 80 years, and they still do not implement Edgar Dale's cone of learning. Google it. Edgar Dale's cone of learning is still not incorporated in our schools. Guess what? America is 20 IQ points dumber today than we were 20 years ago. That's proven also. 20 years ago, we had an IQ average of 120. Now it's 100. Back in the 1960s, the neuroscientists also did the research to prove that we are getting dumber. 98% of all children in the United States are born geniuses. And by the time they are 18 years old, only 2% of the population is still a genius. And they proved that that is due to the educational system. So, this is a long, like thorn in my side. So, I'm now a student trying to learn, investment. I'm out there in the world and I'm getting scammed left and right because these fucking assholes. So I get through the scamming bullshit, which is like the badge of honor when you want to do investing. And it's not just investing, it's business. You go into business, there's scammers. It's like these masked assholes. You go, I'm a teacher and I'm a master. No, you're not. You are a fucking liar. So you realize after you've wasted about $20,000 on scammers that everybody and their mother claims to be an educator when they're not. They're morons. So, they don't, a lot of them are not, a lot of them mean well. A lot of them really think they're that smart when they're not. So that is when I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm a philosopher. I'm not just a philosopher. I am like a rare type of philosopher. Education is kind of like, it's what we do. Like we dissect education. It's the science of learning. It's what we do. So I am like on this massive, oh no, this is a code. It's a knighthood. It really truly is a knighthood. It's Ashavana, and you preserve the wisdom. So I built the healing garden with a full agenda of, all right, here's the standard, people. We call this the standard. And it basically means if you are not a master or higher, you are not allowed to teach in my school. And then I literally go through a filtration process where I cherry pick, the best of the best. You've got to meet my standards if you're going to be allowed in my school. And I'm accumulating literally the best of the best masters and teachers. And it's all DIY because that's how you absolutely have to do it. And you have to follow Edgar Dale's cone of learning. So it's Edgar Dale's cone of learning, combined with the ancient Greek educational system, combined with the masters and the best of the all education that there possibly is. And they also meet my ethical requirements. And I'm literally accumulating all of them. Now, I only do philosophy, logic, ethics, and education. I only focus on, and I will only teach vitalogy, vitalogical physics. It's literally the next stage of philosophy, which again is philosophy. That's the only thing I teach. Anything else, and I find you the master who meets my qualifications. So today I found the investor who is the equivalent of what I do, only for investing. And I bought his book. I went through it and I literally paused reading so I could just cry. He has my science. Now, my science is not mine. It's Mother Nature's. I found it. I broke it down using logic, math, physics. That's what literally all of my research is. That's what this entire YouTube channel is. The difference is it's all on paper. Now, I know I'm a living example of it, and I have some case studies where I've witnessed the results in a person here, a person there, a group over there. This man, not knowing the science of what he's got, implemented it. So now I'm looking at his book going, you've got the science, or like he's got it in act. He's actually got it in action. And he has started up a free school that he has under lock and key. So you can't get there unless you go through his book, which is phenomenal, beautiful, which means, and they screen for scammers, which is just even better, absolutely better. It's so exciting. So he has this massive quality of, we're going to look for scammers, and he's got the code for how to find a scammer. Phenomenal. So I now have his information on my website. So you can now find him if you want to learn investing and go through his channels. And this is what I'm doing is literally cherry picking. I believe I have found someone for music theory. And a philosopher has studied all of the academic disciplines. So we know a professional, we know quality when we meet it. We know how to evaluate somebody for mastery and educational skills. So I have found a physicist, I have found a mathematician, they're from MIT. I have found the investor now, and I'm still looking for somebody who does real estate. I do have somebody who does real estate, but he does not meet my ethical requirements. So I do not like to promote him because he does not check off on the ethics. They have to be ethical. They have to be a master, and they have to be good at teaching. If they do not hit these 3 marks, they do not get inside my garden. So I'm still looking for real estate. And what's beautiful about this is I'm watching him do only for investment what I am doing with all education. So to see it in a mock-up, it's extraordinary. It's like, oh my God, he's literally got a little miniature investment version of the healing garden up and running. And he doesn't have the science, but he's got the science. He applied the science just to investing, but he doesn't know what he's got. And it's extraordinary. It's absolutely extraordinary to see what he's doing with it. And it's like, okay, that just was a massive amount of validation. But what really, really brought it home today was he is as passionate. I don't know if anyone's as passionate about upgrading education, but he's definitely like, he meets my standards. He is absolutely meeting my standards. And what is happening, and this is really what I'm starting to realize with the amount of people that I'm bringing in and accumulating at the healing garden, it's a sanctuary of, oh, you want to learn? Well, we've got the best of the best, and it's all free. We've got the best of the best, and these are phenomenal teachers, and they're ethical. So it's literally a scam-free location. We give you all the tools. I teach you how to evaluate a master on your own. So you don't need me. I will be training you how to do it. It's all free. So I just walk you through, this is how to measure somebody's master skill, how to measure someone's ethic, how to measure someone's teaching skills. So you can leave the school and go find your own. You can also, if you wish, stay and use our school and use the resources there. And we just point you in all the right directions to say, this goes over here. This is somebody over here if you want to go that route. So you can literally cherry pick whoever you want. This is very, very exciting. So finding somebody who teaches investment it's a godsend. And it's funny because I'm reading, like I'm the student right now. So I'm going through his program. And it's really, really surreal for me because it's my work. It's like he's sitting there like laying down the steps and I'm going, okay, that's the formula. So it's really, really funny for me. And I already know the formula. I'm just getting the steps now in the right sequence. And I'm like going through it like, oh, okay, I understand. Yep, all right. And it's validating all of my work as well. So, and this is weird, is I have been trying to learn investment for 5 years. So to go through this knowing it's okay, this is healing garden quality, which means I can relax knowing, oh, I've got the answer. This is Mother Nature's life formula. It's the truth formula. Oh, it's the real deal. It really truly is the real deal. And this is the best part. This is really the huge, I really want to emphasize this. When you have a master who knows how to teach, Einstein, you've heard me say this, if you do not know how to explain it simply, you do not understand it well enough, which means the people who come in can explain it clearly, which means it does not take much for you to get the entire lesson. He teaches all of investment in 2 hours. Now, I have an hypothesis that is currently tracking to say, yes, this is absolutely 100% correct. When you have a teacher who only teaches you precisely in the right order from Plato's point, you only need approximately 300 pages to learn the entire discipline because they are that good at teaching. Which means once the school curriculum is reinstated as it was 2,000 years ago, academic disciplines will literally take you only, I'll do the math. You're looking at 300 pages with 18 disciplines, 5,400 reading hours total. That's it. When you have a master, you do not need more than 5,400 reading hours. You should not be reading more than 5,400 reading hours. That will give you all of the disciplines, all 18 of them. And when you know the sequence, you just get the basic and then you go into the next layer. By then, you know exactly which disciplines you want to study and you'll know which ones to dissect. You're going to choose one, maybe two to dissect. Those are going to be your core foundational disciplines. That is the language you speak, which means all the other disciplines, while they are related, and you will find out how they are related as you dissect your disciplines, you will find out how they are related to you through those disciplines. Then you'll be able to study them and translate them efficiently for yourself, which means the reason why you're struggling with any discipline, if you are struggling with any academic discipline, is because you are not speaking the right language for you. We resolve that, which means when you couple that also with the entire sequence, you literally will walk away with knowing all of the disciplines in less than 10 years. All of the disciplines in less than 10 years. This is the same formula I used to be a master at over 8 of the 18 academic disciplines. It's because I knew the sequence and I knew which ones were my language and I knew how to put them in order because I had Plato's curriculum. So I knew how to learn exactly what I needed. And then I used physics, math, and logic, or music and logic as my core so that everything else could relate to my 3 languages. And then I was able to expand on them and take them to the next level so that I could communicate with all of the sciences. And I did it in a fraction of the time. The only holdup I had was when a lot of masked scammers claiming to be professionals got in my way. At the Healing Garden, we remove all of the scammers. We remove all of the fakes. We remove all of the bad teachers. We do not have bad teachers at the Healing Garden. There is no such thing. We do not allow them. And then we bring them all in, and they have to meet all of our standards so that when they deliver at Plato's point in the right sequential order, you just go through it as you need. It's beautiful, which means you are looking at walking away with all of the mastery of the majority of the disciplines in a fraction of the time, with no stress. We also do not allow memorization to take place at the garden because that is not how you learn. That is how you assault someone's subconscious mind. So there's no memorization. There's also no time because we have removed that from the equation as well. We just need the US government to cooperate with us. That's coming. So this is literally what we are putting in place. That is what we have in the process of building. We are just at this point where we are looking for teachers. And now that I have his marketing model, I've reached out to him and I'm hoping to bring him on board because we are looking to redo the same thing with the garden en masse with all of them. And it's literally locating the best of the teachers to get these disciplines honed down into the precise sequence of academic disciplines. Now, Juilliard literally has mastered music theory. We've got teachers for music theory. We're pulling from Juilliard on that one. Why not? You go for the best of the best. And then we are also looking for, I have my physicist picked out. I have my mathematician picked out. I believe Juilliard would be theater and stage. No, I want to go London. I want to go England. They are the masters of theater and stage. That is a no-brainer. You want theater and stage, and you need to go to England for that. So we are literally cherry picking the best of the best for educational disciplines, and we are bringing them all together. If you do have recommendations, please contact me. Let me know. The information for contacting me is available in this video description. And yeah, we're literally rolling out right now as we speak. It's not something that's going to be launching once we're done. It's going to be added to it in a compound as we build it. So if you are interested in learning investment without any scammers, with the real deal, with master teachers, the information is on my website, on thishealinggarden.org. Thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.